Hey guys, it's Madison with Fitness, Nutrition, and Motivation. Today I want to talk about 10 tips for how to stay fit and healthy during the holiday season, and they're a little bit easier than you think. So I'm going to go in order of kind of what I think is the most important to the least important tips. So let's get started. Number one is drink enough water. We all already know this one. It's going to make you feel fuller throughout the day. One thing that I do want to make note on that is on the drinking enough water. It takes a while to get your body hydrated. So I would recommend starting maybe the day before and drink, I think the recommendation is half your body weight in ounces of water per day. So at least go for that on the 2 days, the day before and the day of. You're going to feel fuller. You might not be apt to eating as much food as, say, you would if you weren't hydrated. And also your body, when it sends signals to your brain, sometimes it sends signals that we interpret as hungry, but it's actually just thirsty. And food, if you didn't know this, especially fruit and vegetables, are hydrating, so they will give you that little bit of water. So sometimes your brain, I'll crave fruit sometimes when I'm really thirsty because it kind of has a high water content. So I have to really think about if I'm thirsty or if I'm just hungry when I get those signals. So, but anyways, the point is the day before and the day of, you want to make sure you're drinking enough water. It's going to make you maybe not eat so much as you normally would have. So number two, you want to go there already having a plan of what you're going to eat. So for example, when I usually go to family events, there's typically an option of like mashed potatoes and mashed russet potatoes and sweet potatoes. And I typically forego the mashed potatoes for the sweet potatoes because it's generally less calories and higher nutrient content. So you want to have, the point of this is you want to have an idea before you get there. So you don't want to get there and just say, I'll see what's healthy, and then you end up eating everything anyways. You want, almost all of us are on some text thread or message thread with our families where we know what everyone's bringing. So you will have an idea of what's already going to be there, most likely, unless you're the husband in the relationship. But you'll probably have a good idea of what people are bringing, and so you can kind of choose before you get there. Okay, so Aunt Sally's bringing this 1,000-calorie pecan pie or something. I'm gonna forego that one, and I'm just gonna eat dinner. Just kind of have an idea of what you're gonna eat before you get there is the point I'm getting at. Number three, and this is kind of the most forgiving thing on the list, which isn't typical for me, I guess. It's okay to cheat on single days as long as you get right back to it afterwards. If you eat and you just completely ignore this video and you eat 40,000 calories, which is insane. No one would eat that many calories. But if you eat a ton of food on whatever holiday it is you're celebrating, you're not going to gain 40 pounds overnight. Like, it's not that dramatic of a thing that happens. Like, you might see a plateau in your weight loss or, a 7-pound gain, depending on how much you weigh the next day, from water weight, but it's not going to be this insane weight gain. Just as long as you get right back on it the next day, it's okay. Give yourself a break. It's fine. The number four, and this kind of goes along with having a plan of what you're going to eat before there, is pick and choose. So you and you know what your vices are. If you maybe need the alcohol or the whatever fancy drink they have at family events, and that's what your vice is, maybe choose to have that instead of the big pumpkin pie or cookies or whatever the dessert is. Kind of mentally choose one thing over the other. You want to celebrate. It's a holiday. It's okay. Like I said, give yourself a break, but pick and choose what your vice is going to be. Don't just eat every single thing in sight. But speaking of eating every single thing in sight, there is one thing that it's okay to eat everything in sight, and that is eat your freaking vegetables. If I could drill one thing into everyone's mind, it's eat your vegetables. They reduce inflammation. They'll help you feel fuller because you'll be full of vegetables, which are extremely low calorie and not, I keep attacking mashed potatoes. They aren't even that bad, but that's the worst thing I can think of right now. Instead of mashed potatoes, if you have a belly full of broccoli, you're not going to binge on mashed potatoes and gravy or something crazy. So eat your vegetables. And even if it is a dish where it's maybe not so healthy, like it's not steamed vegetables, it's like that what's that green bean casserole with like a cream of mushroom soup or whatever it is all over. Like, even if that's your only option, like choose that over something else. So they're kind of relating again to that pick and choose thing. But it is really important to eat your vegetables. Do that every day, particularly on a holiday. And it's a good influence to your friends and family as well. Sorry, family. Next thing on the list is, and this is a weight loss tip, also kind of like a general life tip. When you get your food and you're sitting down at the table, don't be the first one to finish. Like, eat slowly, take your time. Maybe choose to sit next to like maybe an older family member that really wants to chat. While you're sitting there talking with people and catching up, you will tend to eat slower because you don't want to have like a jaw full of food while you're having a conversation with them. So that'll kind of trick your mind into eating slower anyways. And eating slower will also help give your stomach time to send signals to your brain like, hey, I'm full, I'm done eating. Anyways, so eat slowly, visit with your family, sit next to maybe an older family member or someone you haven't seen in a while, and take your time. Don't wolf down your plate. You probably don't need a second helping, unless your plate's this big and you didn't get something on it. Take your time, eat slow, don't be the first one to finish, and give your stomach time to tell yourself you're full. The next thing on my list, and this kind of isn't so relevant, I guess, in my life because my family's kind of accepted who I am now, but don't give in to peer pressure. I know kind of at the beginning when you're trying to make a healthy change, it's kind of difficult for some other people to understand why you aren't splurging on a holiday. They kind of want you to give yourself a break, but usually that tends to... Okay, I'm going to go off on a tangent here. So I read this book, and I'm so sorry to whoever the author is, but I can't remember exactly which book it is that I read. But they said that whenever you choose to make a good decision, you're casting a vote for that healthy habit. And whenever you choose to make a bad decision, you're casting a vote for that bad habit. So obviously we know how elections work. You don't need a unanimous decision for someone in an election to win. You just need majority. So if you make the majority of your votes for healthy decisions, that's what's going to win. If you make the majority of your votes for unhealthy decisions, that's what's going to win. So if you give into peer pressure now, you're training your mind to give into peer pressure again later. And how often do you see friends and family? Every single time you're with someone. If you're mentally weak and you can give in when someone starts guilting you for eating something or not eating another thing, like, you're going to create an unhealthy habit for yourself, and it's going to be an issue later. I promise. Next on the list, and again, this kind of goes along with drinking your water and eating your vegetables, feeling fuller. Don't eat until you hate yourself. Eat until you're full. That's, again, something that can apply to any day, but particularly on holidays. While you're eating slowly, you're giving yourself time to digest. You want to eat until your stomach starts sending the full signals to your brain, and you don't need anything else. Like, maybe for another couple seconds you might think you do, but once you stop, it's really easy to just kind of walk away. And that I can kind of transition into the next one there. One thing I usually like to do when I'm done, because I'm usually done eating way before everyone else, and not because I scarf down my plate, because I just typically happen to have less on my plate. I usually walk into the kitchen and I'll start doing dishes to help out whoever the host is. And that also into the next one, it's be active with your family. So it's the reason this is at the end of the list is that you can't outwork a bad diet. Like, nothing you do is going to make up for a ridiculous amount of calories that you're going to have, if that's what you choose to do, unless you choose to make smart decisions. But if you get up and you start cleaning the kitchen, one, you can start pulling yourself away from eating, and two, you're keeping your body active so you don't get in that food coma where you're laying on the couch and you can't talk to anyone. And that even goes for before you have dinner or lunch or whenever you celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever it is. Stand up when you're talking to people. Don't sit down. Every single movement I'm making here is burning calories, and it's keeping my body active. It's keeping my blood going. So, blood flowing. So you want to try to be active throughout the whole day in some way. My family, I grew up in a family that likes to wrestle with each other. So that's kind of what we choose to do. We have a ton of pictures of like all the cousins just stacked up on top of each other wrestling. But anyways, be active, stay standing, help people clear the table or clean up dishes, and it'll make you look awesome to your family, by the way. And the last thing on the list, which is also important, mostly for habit keeping rather than a fitness or weight loss tip, is go to the gym that day, or whatever workout thing you typically do. You want to keep your habit of going because, one, it's harder to get back on when you don't, and two, you will burn that little bit of extra calories. It keeps your body going. It makes me feel mentally more clear when I work out. I don't even know if that's a real thing, but keep your habit of working out. If you can't fit it in the time you normally go, all you got to do is do it later in the evening or earlier in the morning. There's never an excuse to not go. You can compromise a little bit of sleep that day to go to the gym. You're fine. So that's all I got for you today. Thanks so much for listening. I appreciate it. I'll take any questions in the comments. And Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, whatever it is you celebrate. Have a great day. Stay fit and healthy.